Is Superman still relevant today? Well, one of the viewers sent me a link to another channel. It's called The Literature Devil, and there's like an hour and a half long video discussing this topic, and it's really good. It's going to be way better than what I do here. It goes through kind of a lot of the different ins and outs and kind of history of Superman and the psychology behind it. Really, really positive. I definitely recommend The Literature Devil. Yeah, is Superman relevant today? Go check it out. If you don't have 90 minutes, here's the 10-minute version. I'm going to have a little bit of a different perspective, I think, on the character than he did, but hopefully you'll still find it interesting. Hey everybody, this is Perch. Is Superman still relevant today? Well, my answer is yes. Absolutely, Superman is still relevant today, but of course, there's one huge factor in there, and that's how is he being written? How's the character being produced? Because that pretty much is going to explain whether the current work is relevant or not. The character, absolutely. The idea of the character, sure, still relevant. I think if there's one thing that is absolutely clear in entertainment, and you just look at the things that become popular, fade in popularity, become popular again, anything has the opportunity to be relevant in our current culture and our current society. If you're, trying to set some hard and fast rules behind what can work and what won't work based on, society or news or pop culture, you're avoiding one really key factor, and that's who's doing it. Is it relevant? It depends. It depends on who's writing the story. Not everyone can write Superman well. Not every company can make a property a multi-million dollar success. It really takes skill and talent and the right pitch and the right idea, and then any kind of property can work. But you see a lot of articles around superheroes are about to fade, and in the new world where we are suspicious of police officers, shouldn't we be suspicious of superheroes too? Has their time come? These are dumb questions asked by dumb people. It's clickbait kind of advertisement. They're articles that are designed to achieve a reaction. And the reaction is for you to go wah, and then you click and then you read on it, and it's junk. It's popcorn kind of information and news. Because again, there's a common sense answer for this: is write a good story. It's relevant. That doesn't trivialize. I once said this. I've said this in many videos, but I said this in one of the videos. And I got this feedback saying, "Oh, you're just hand waving away how hard it is to write a good story." Yeah, absolutely not. It's hard to write a good story. Not everyone can do it. Clearly, not everyone can do it. So no, it's not just like when I say, "Hey, just write a good story." I'm not suggesting that's easy, but I am suggesting it's possible. There's a huge difference between easy and possible. If the question is, can Superman ever be relevant? The answer is yes. Might it be hard to do? I mean, depends on your point of view. I actually think it's easier to write Superman than people think. I think I've done videos on that before. But let's go into the question, is Superman relevant? The arguments usually come down to kind of two main things: his power set and his personality. Okay, on the power set, it's he's got these godlike powers. Can he ever really be defeated if he's so, all powerful with no clear weaknesses? Then, that's not interesting. That's not relevant. People want heroes with flaws. People want heroes with weaknesses. I mean, first off, I'd like to kind of peel back that. That's again, maybe another video for another time. But the reality is, I don't think the people want heroes with flaws as much as some think. I think readers want stories that are complex, that aren't coloring books in terms of the complexity, the story that's being told. They want to actually have, a story. And I think a lot of people mistake that into thinking decompression and flawed heroes and everything else. Like, we got to show that the heroes have a dark side and that they're evil and everything else. And they're saying that because they saw kind of success in the late '80s with Dark Knight Returns and with Watchmen, some of these other titles that were very successful, and so it became this is clearly the way. In order to have a successful book, you've got to have your heroes, you got to do the anti-hero thing. You got to have some of these elements. But the reality is, no, that's just one type of story being told. You don't have to have flaws in heroes. It's not a requirement to telling a great story. You have to have a complex story. A complex story does not mean tearing down your heroes into garbage. It means that you can actually, have your heroes be heroes as long as the story and the plot is of interest. I think that Superman does have several weaknesses. He's weak to kryptonite, of course. He's weak to magic. He's weak to his own hubris at times. He's weak to the fact that he, with the amazing power that he has, there's a responsibility for him to be everywhere, but he physically can't be everywhere, and so that sets up another weakness of now there's a dependency on Superman that gets set up, and how does Superman juggle, try to be everywhere at once? He can't be. But because he has powers, he now has to kind of plan where he goes here or there. And so there's just a lot to Superman in terms of weaknesses that most writers tend to ignore or avoid or struggle with. They forget those common weaknesses, and they instead, kind of wring their hands at how difficult a character is to write because he's all powerful. Superman can do anything. Superman clearly can't do everything, and it's just a matter of understanding kind of that story. The other part is the personality. So this is a personality. Well, Superman's a Boy Scout, and in today's pop culture, we don't want to read Boy Scouts. We don't. Those people are saps. Those people they're not interesting characters. People are just good all the time. Nobody wants that. They need to have a dark side. Like Superman, in his off hours, he needs to be into bondage or something. We got to make sure that he's not just this goody two shoes because nobody wants to read that. Well, I mean, in reality, lots of people are happy to read that. You don't have to have everything be dark and crappy. And again, the idea that you're, a Boy Scout or you're, inherently good, sets up weaknesses. It sets up blind spots. It means that you have a harder time kind of contemplating, true villainy. One of the interesting things about Superman was always that, compared to, the Dark Knight, compared to Batman's rogues gallery were often sadistic and evil and did crime for no apparent reason. There's this kind of really nice dynamic, I think, when John Byrne was doing Superman, where it's like Superman can't wrap his head around the Joker. He can't mentally understand how that character could behave the way he behaved. And as a result, it creates a weakness, it creates a blind spot because you can't fully digest villainy. Why would people even want to do that? You can't even contemplate that, which is why Batman always is more successful at dealing with his rogues gallery, because it is, Batman does have the ability to kind of put his mind into kind of these characters and why villains act the way they do, and kind of look on that darker side. Superman doesn't. It's an interesting contrast between the two. Again, not a weakness, just a difference in personality. You don't have to have all of your characters have the same personality. But for whatever reason, it's like, hey, we're in darker times. It's we're more grim, we're more bitter, we're more jaded, and so the idea of having this kind of big Boy Scout like character, Superman, Shazam, etc., we can't have that. With Wonder Woman, we need to have Wonder Woman kill Maxwell Lord, because it's she's too sappy otherwise, just running around with her swimsuit on. I mean, that's just who would respect that? And that's a really flawed way of looking at things. I think that in terms of Superman, not to be a broken record here, but if you can tell a really good story, if you can tell a compelling bit of mythology around Superman, I think that you'd have an incredibly relevant story. In fact, I'd even argue that the idea of being able to show how somebody who maybe has all the power in the world but can't solve all the problems is unsure of himself. I mean, in the sense that Superman eventually falls into this place where he can't save everyone all the time. He's got godlike powers, but he has to be careful about how he uses them. He has to balance between what he's going to do in kind of helping humanity and saving the world versus what he's going to let humans do for themselves, and basically not be their ruler. These are all interesting kind of topics to explore. I will say, for what it's worth, it felt like Bendis was either heading there or had at least some inkling that he was going to address the idea of Superman, uh, basically setting himself up as kind of this protector of the world. And he has these powers. He's got this family. He has this ability to really kind of do right. But then it tips the scales into, people becoming dependent on him. And it felt like Bendis might have been headed. It was hard to say because the problem that comes in with Superman, I think, which sets up this question of if he's relevant or not, and what gets us into this trap, is this dynamic of, is uh, here's what happens. There's a common thread. The writer comes on to Superman. The writer immediately wants to say, I want to do something new and I want to do something different. Therefore, I'm going to have a threat come up that Superman doesn't know how to handle. So we're going to ignore kind of the existing things. Kryptonite's played out, green rocks, and magic. I don't really know what to do with that. I mean, the magic's being handled in another title, and I don't know. Is John Constantine available? Is he? He's not. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess I won't do anything with magic. I'll have some magic storyline where some magician and Superman has to just kind of crawl around and all the rest. And Superman's not the smartest. Batman's a super tactician, but at the same time, Superman also has the super futuristic robotic artificial intelligence Fortress of Solitude, and Superman's able to deal with all those machines. So maybe Superman is really really smart, but maybe he's not at the same time. He's I'm not sure. And now I want to Superman. The idea of being just strong and flying around really isn't that entertaining. So let's go ahead and give him a new power of some kind. We'll have it so he could like burst out solar energy all at once. But if he does that, then he's less powerful after that for a period of time. And that'll be a new interesting wrinkle. But oh, wait a minute. My problem with Superman was he was too powerful, and now I've given him more powers. So that's not good. And but he's got a weakness attached to that power. But this weakness doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And by the way, the continuity of the comics is as such that it's not like he's how much time is really passing in comics. Is it a week? Is it a day? Is it an hour? Nobody really knows. So that doesn't work. If he's going to get weak, we don't. I mean, he's weak, but that's no real threat because we're shipping 2 titles a month. So the other one he's strong, and in this one he's not, but only for a couple pages. Like I don't, listening to that, does that sound shitty to you? It sounds like just hearing myself talk. Like, God, who wants to read that? It's a garbage Superman title. Nobody wants to. I mean, that's just I guess too much. It's like, oh, I know. Let's dive into his relationship with Lois and how she's his strength, but she's also his weakness, and he worries about her because she's only mortal. But we can't make her too mortal because she needs to be at his level if it's an equal relationship between the two. So it's these writers get themselves into just ridiculously stupid plots. They complicate things and make their own problem, as opposed to, hey, the Legion of Doom is deciding to launch a simultaneous attack in 6 different places. Superman can't be with them all, and so therefore he has to pick and choose which one to do. But Lex Luthor is super smart, so it's a feint, and he draws Superman into the wrong conflict, and it causes problems in 5 other spots in the Earth. And Superman wasn't able to get to them in time, so now Superman feels some responsibility, but he's chasing kind of vapor because Luthor is fighting a battle on many different fronts, and it's causing Superman to have to rely on other people. Okay, there you go. There's the story. Here's another one. Brainiac's floating around, and he finds a planet, and he reduces it to be part of his his little collection of planets in the bottle. And Superman finds out this is happening. He's really pissed about it, so he flies in. He wages an all-out assault, but he has to be careful to just unload with his powers because there's all these civilizations in Brainiac's ship, and he has to be careful. Plus, Brainiac is, teamed up with somebody who can wield some magic, so there's another vulnerability for Superman that he has to watch out for. But eventually, Superman frees the planet, and the thing that's in a bottle, and he restores it and everything else. But learns in that process that the people on that planet that he saved were actually happy that Brainiac did this because their planet was in kind of a terminal state. It was falling out of a gravity well or something, and it was in a bad place. And Brainiac had achieved some stability for the planet that's now disrupted. So you have this race of aliens who, vow revenge on Superman for some point for his meddling, and it gives Superman something to think about in terms of. I could go on and on and on. There's no shortage of Superman stories that you can write. If magic as a weakness is fairly well known, which it kind of is. Have all the villains start, using magical artifacts to try and gain the upper hand on him. There's You could write a year's worth of stories, have them be relevant, have them be entertaining. The bigger question, of course, is in pop culture. Do people want to read the stories of a kind of super optimistic, cheerful Superman? And I think the answer is sure. They'd be happy to. If the story is good, they would read it. There's plenty of movies, shows. I mean, not everything is dark and gritty and evil. You don't have to take a extreme negative view on properties in order for them to be popular. Sometimes, movies and things are popular because they're fun and they're exciting. And if you make it fun and exciting, it's good. You know, I I don't think any of this is that hard. I think that a lot of people within comics kind of wring their hands at how hard Superman is, ask the question, is he relevant or not? And I think it's a very fancy, in some cases, very intellectual way of saying, I do not have a good story idea in my head for Superman. Can I create some kind of, random alien creature who's strong and he's going to fight Superman and they're going to have a space battle? I don't know. Is that your pitch? That pitch sucks. I mean, I think that's at its core. Um, it takes a good story, and if you don't have a good story in your belt, then that's not going to work. Anyway, what do you think? Superman, relevant or not relevant? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Most importantly, though, thanks for listening.